Hey, Forgemates, welcome in. It's the best of the month. Ereb Altor, Hälsingemörker. The band's reputation speaks for itself, man. These Swedish metalheads have been quietly but masterfully dominating a very niche corner of extreme metal. Pagan black metal with a slow, doomy edge. If this is your first time hearing this band with this record, though, you aren't going to be getting that much of that doom on here. Instead, they're really leaning into that pagan black metal style.
Ereb Altor's new record is their 10th in 22 years. It's a solid blend of Viking, black, and heavy metal, which I really vibed with. Musically, they definitely rival other Viking metal bands, expertly weaving heavier elements into the mix compared to other acts. While some minor issues, in my opinion, did exist in this album, overall, the quality is definitely impressive here. Those high-pitched vocals in the earlier tracks do sometimes clash with the black metal sections, but I do think it's a thing that makes them kind of their own unique take on the genre. The lower vocal registers on the record create a very dark and menacing and intense atmosphere. This showcases the band at their best and definitely shifts them into a premier league of their own in terms of Viking metal.
This record very well could be their most straightforward to date. It gets right to the point with smatterings of that melodic death doom here and there, but really it's infrequent. Enough to call this a flat-out black metal record with some pagan doom undertones. Ereb Altor has delivered again, a fantastic one for February.
Grima's Nightside is a captivating journey into Siberian atmospheric black metal, following up on their 2022's Frostbitten. This is their 6th record, and it expands on their signature sound, blending traditional black metal with folk elements like that eerie Bayan. Check this out. From the desolate intro to the majestic flight of the Silver Storm, Grima crafts a world of icy desolation and ancient spirits. Wilhelm's varied Russian vocals, ranging from guttural roars to chilling shrieks, complement the intricate instrumentation on Nightside.
This is a strong outing from this Russian duo. They caught our attention with their 2021 release, Rotten Garden, and that one really gripped us. Lots of strong elements to attach onto here, especially if you love that atmospheric black metal like we do. Unfortunately, I think that this record does tend to exhibit some underdeveloped spots, like in the song Skull Gatherers. It just doesn't feel as strong as the other tracks, and ends on this kind of random, whimsical non-melody from the accordion. Is it an accordion? I don't even know.
Bayan. Check this out. It's a Russian accordion, for those who don't know.
This particular instrument is a little overbearing at times on this record. I kind of wish that they allowed the music to breathe a little more, meticulously introducing this instrument and then pulling it back for a bit. That would really give it some power as it pushes those new melodies onto us. No hate on this record at all. I just really think that they could do better. Flight of the Silver Storm is like one of the best songs of the first quarter, so you're definitely going to enjoy this record. I sure did.
I really love tracks like Skull Gatherers and Impending Death Premonition. They showcase the band's dynamic range, incorporating things like blast beats, synths, strings, and even some clean vocals, which is a welcome addition to this band. The longer tracks, such as the Nightside, offer a deep exploration of their soundscapes. The outro of this album is melancholic. It's a great way to end it. With the album's evocative atmosphere and superb production, Nightside solidifies Grima's place as a definite leading force in the modern black metal scene.
Saor, Amidst the Ruins. Nothing short of ambitious, Amidst the Ruins is an epic adventure through a Celtic landscape filled with bards, fairies, druids, and a slew of other characters sure to enchant you along the way. None of the instruments you hear on this record are digital foolery. Saor mastermind Andy has a team of talented musicians on his roster. Personally, I love hearing the breaths on a woodwind player or the creaks of a fretboard of an old-timey stringed instrument. It just adds so much character.
Saor's Amidst the Ruins returns to the Scottish Highlands, blending folk and black metal elements, while Familiar, the album showcases a sophisticated and kind of progressive edge, which I really appreciated. The lengthier compositions like the opener balance heaviness and melody, evoking mournful hope throughout, and Rebirth highlights Scottish pride with powerful guitars and amazing clean vocals. I love the technical riffing and intricate instrumentation on this album, especially in the track Echoes of the Ancient Land. There are some songs on this record that do suffer from repetitiveness, and they're a little bit on the longer side. This is definitely an engaging and amazing melodic record for fans of folk-infused black metal. Definitely check it out.
What keeps this album from being monumental is that it does tend to meander a little bit. I knew it! With cyclic repetitions never quite reaching those peaks that induce my neck hairs standing at attention. Still, this is a special record, and everyone involved should be proud. We're glad to have these guys on the channel again. Everything Andy touches is fantastic.
Hey, if you dig these videos, thumbs up the video, leave a comment down below, really helps us out.
You might also like our Floridian-inspired death metal album that's about technology. It's called The Future Without Organic Life Forms. You should go check it out. It's like 13 minutes long. You'll love it. We got Forgemaster merchandise. Not only this design, but we got other designs too. Scope them out. They're in the description.
Vermilia, Kätkyt. This is a breath of fresh air, man, in the Finnish metal scene. This mysterious female-fronted project delivers epic Scandinavian pagan metal with a raw and very menacing edge. Now, I do love pagan metal that's more in the kind of cheesy category, but Vermilia keeps it grounded with killer riffs and a foreboding atmosphere throughout. While comparisons to Mörker are definitely inevitable, especially due to the use of clean vocals, Vermilia's metal foundation, I would say, shines through way more than Mörker. The Finnish lyrics, likely a tribute to her homeland's landscapes and heritage, add another layer of intrigue that I absolutely loved.
Man, I am always inspired by musicians that could just do it all. As you can see, I'm trying to be that person myself. And this is just one of those do-it-yourself, do-it-all musicians on this list here today. She has the ability to stay focused with a strong foundation in black metal, but the folkish elements here are genuine to a point of amazement. The vocals are spectacular, really the highlight of this record, with the constant layers being a really welcome addition to the blistering riffs. It's awesome to know that she is behind the kits, she's behind the guitars, the microphone. This is just an impressive feat for any solo project. She's on a fucking tear. She's got 3 albums. This is as good a place as any to start.
Standout tracks like Hadui and Vedesta Vorantunat, I am not going to be able to pronounce these correctly, they showcase Vermilia's songwriting prowess, evoking classic black metal influences without being very derivative at all. The album's closer was definitely my favorite. It is a powerful and highly fitting epilogue. I love the dynamic drumming, the memorable riffing, and it really elevated the experience throughout. One of the more underground albums of the month from an unsigned artist deserving a wider recognition. Check this out.
Unreqvited, A Pathway to the Moon. Canadian multi-instrumentalist Ghost, another one on this list, a solo do-it-yourself artist, has been working on this project for nearly a decade now. This is their 7th album, A Pathway to the Moon. And it is a beautiful journey through torment, anguish, and the distant chance of hope. Typically associated with the often unnecessary subgenre of DSBM, Unreqvited has been on an upward trajectory since their debut record, showcasing cinematic moments that really help those epic post-rock sections stand out. This record is no different, with a grandiose cinematic quality to the songs.
Unrequited's latest album expands their melodic soundscapes with symphonic elements and adding some post-rock, reminiscent of early Alcest. While the atmosphere is definitely striking, the transitions between softer and heavier sections can feel kind of abrupt to me, but it is still a fantastic record. Highlights for me included the keyboard-driven Starforger and the powerful closer, Departure Everlasting Dream. Despite some of the kinks in the chain on this album, the record is definitely incredibly strong, showcasing their amazing talent for crafting thought-provoking music. While not surpassing Beautiful Ghosts for me, a lot of you will probably disagree, it is definitely a close second and a fantastic addition to the black gaze subgenre.
The production is very modern, which has its pluses and minuses. There's a ton of black gaze influences on here, and I'd even venture to say that Unreqvited is now a black gaze band, moving on from that pretty juvenile DSBM sound. This is their best release, and if you haven't heard this yet, I think that this is the place to start.
Hangman's Chair, Saddiction. Hangman's Chair's latest release is finally here. I've been pumped for this record, and you know what? It's living up to the hype. Opening with the atmospheric To Know the Night, the album immediately establishes a brooding vibe. There's a touch of typo negative influence, which, as you all know, is one of my all-time favorites. The Worst Is Yet to Come and In Disguise further explores the darkness throughout with hints of gothic undertones, and that's why I love this record so much. Kowloon Lights is a definite highlight for me. It's a shoegaze-infused track that's both emotional and highly captivating. I love the video, too, directed by Den Sora. Perfectly captures the song's urban despair. I love 2 AM Thoughts too. It's a welcome addition to the record, especially with that collaboration with the almighty Duel.
Their last album, A Loner, was one of our favorites of that year, even making it to our best of the end of the year list. That blend of alternative metal and gothic doom is delivered at the perfect fucking ratio from these French artists. Their tone is very deliberate here too, giving tons of space for reverb, echoes, and delays and phasers that just kind of swirl around you, enveloping you in that band's dreary sound. The themes of addiction, mental anguish, and inner turmoil are all explored here with a genuine sense of compassion and empathy.
The sorrowful canvas and neglect follow, maintaining the album's highly emotional intensity, and I love the closing out of the record with 44 Yacht and Healed. The longer songs definitely showcase Hangman's Chair's musical maturity, blending into powerful and emotional climaxes throughout. This album is another notch in the belt, showing this band's amazing growth and artistry. Truly a captivating listen from start to finish. It's easily an album of the year contender for me.
Inborn Suffering, Pale Gray Monochrome. One of my most anticipated albums of this year. It's been nearly a decade since this band released their last album, Regression to Nothingness, which is an overlooked classic in the melodic death doom sphere. Seriously, that album is perfect. So, how does this one, Pale Gray Monochrome, hold up? It holds up pretty well. I won't say this is by any stretch of the means a return to form for this band, however.
I'm going to be honest, Pale Gray Monochrome is technically proficient, but sad to say this album was ultimately unexciting for me. This was a bummer because Regression to Nothingness in 2012 is one of the most underrated melodic doom albums of all time. While the band nails the aesthetic and pacing, the production was a major drawback for me. The songs, while definitely highly listenable, I felt like they never really exploded like their previous works. The album offers some solid ingredients, but lacks the surprises and unique elements that distinguish the best melodic doom records that we love on this channel. If you do love melodic doom though, it's absolutely worth scoping at the very least.
As Brandon alluded to, this band has got some refining to do, especially in the audio engineering department. The album lacks a lot of that low-end punch that we come to expect from slow, brooding death doom. Beyond that, however, I still enjoyed the musicianship, the songwriting, and those harrowing screams. If this band is new to you, I don't think I would start here. Regression to Nothingness is hands down a superior album in every way, but this was one of my most anticipated of the year, so I felt the need to include it here. Album of the year material, this is not.
Dawn of Solace, Affliction Vortex. The project of the legendary Tuomas Saukkonen of Wolfheart Before the Dawn returns with Affliction Vortex. This is their third album with vocalist Mikko Heikkila of Cinnamore. While it might not reach the heights of their 2020 masterpiece Waves, I absolutely love that record, this is still a solid dose of melancholic doom and death metal. Saukkonen's mastery of gloomy riffs and despondent songwriting is on full display, perfectly complemented by Heikkila's pained, clean vocals. Tracks like Murder and Rival showcase the duo's strengths, with Rival being a definite standout on the album.
This is the third album that we've covered from these guys since their reformation in 2019 with vocalist Mikko. I'm not even going to try and pronounce his last name. His vocal style and tonality has taken me some time to get used to, but he is locked on this record, matching the intensity and heaviness of Tuomas's growls and riffs. The other night, I watched this awesome recording of Sentenced performing in somewhere in Europe, circa 1995. Old school venue, just very minimal, like little bit of lighting. They had just released the album Amok, which is a melodic death metal masterpiece. This album here reminds me a bit of that era of Sentenced. It's not quite the swomy metal that defined the later half of their career, but it's more akin to a gothic, melodic death metal record that pulls in mournful tropes to create an atmosphere of sorrow. I agree that this is not the peak of their career, but I think this is a fantastic record that you deserve to hear. Wow, that was a fun rhyme.
Fortress offers a Catatonia-esque vibe, while Into the Light feels like a resurrected Black Sun Aeon track, in my opinion. Though some songs echo Sokinen's past work, it's done very effectively here. Perennial adds a unique touch with its heavier and almost rock-influenced approach, and I love that the album is tight, under 40 minutes. The album is concise, it's engaging. The riffing on here and the vocals have always been a winning combination for this band, and Affliction Vortex is just another extremely high-quality release in Donna Solis's discography.
Pothamus, a boar. Sometimes I want my music to become a river of sound. I can wade into it, lay down, and just let it carry me away. Teetering on the drone Sludge lines is this fairly new band. Hailing from Belgium, I can see the inspiration from their fellow countrymen, The Ocean. In fact, if you enjoyed The Ocean's latest album, I think you're gonna love this one.
This album came out of fucking nowhere, dude. This is a massively immersive record that demands attention, blending ritualistic repetition, hypnotic density, and droning expanses. From the primal chants of Zakarta to the thunderous Vartum Avor, the band wields sound like an elemental force. The monolithic bass tone, summoning drums, and cavernous guitars create a spiritual and textural experience. I will absolutely be revisiting this record more this year.
It's very meditative, but still heavy as fuck, introducing distant screams, chugging rhythms, and that tribal-style drumming to keep the atmosphere thick.
Het zingen was heel bevrijdend op een manier. Het is iets wat ik al lang heb willen doen, maar op een of andere manier nog nooit heb gedaan. En voor mij was het enorm verrijkend om een extra dimensie te kunnen meegeven.
If you give this album your attention, you will be highly rewarded, as Brandon said. But for me, it's the album's indifference here, which is most intriguing. It's going to lumber on whether or not you're paying attention. Get drawn into the ritual with this one, a top tier Sludge record for Q1. Very well could be a mid or end of year list contender.
16, Guides for the Misguided. Sludge metal pioneers return with Guides for the Misguided, proving that they're not just resting on their laurels. The 10th album is arguably their most adventurous and possibly their best in my opinion, especially since Bridges to Burn. The opening tracks, After All, blends classic 16 heaviness with catchy rock hooks. Blood Atonement Blues delivers a slow and gritty experience, and Fortress of Hate and Fire and Brimstone Inc. feature some highly infectious riffs reminiscent of Corrosion of Conformity. Bobby Ferry's clean vocals are so fucking good on this album. They add a completely new dimension to their sound alongside the signature growls that he's known for.
Confession time. Forgive me, Sludge Lords, for I have never heard of this band. And they've basically been around for as long as Brandon and I have been alive. So, alright, whoops. This is a sludge record through and through, man, with all that disgust, filth, and wretchedness that you should come to expect from this unique subgenre. These guys very well could have fit into our recent conversations about sludge bands that have beaten the test of time. Sludge is a niche within a niche within a niche, and this album can go up there with some of the best of them. The variety is very welcome here with those clean guitars, the clean vocals, and for me, the standout, that snare tone, so good, man.
Kick Out the Chair is a standout song showcasing the band's signature blend of sharp riffs and massive sludge. The production on this record is monstrous, dude, with Dion Thurman's drums sounding absolutely enormous. Their cover of Bad Brains, Give Thanks and Praises, is a really cool take on the sound, possibly even being better than the original somehow. Guides for the Misguided is a fantastic return to show for 16's evolution, solidifying their status as genre leaders. It's definitely an early contender for Album of the Year for me. This came out of nowhere. I was not expecting this to be this good, and it showcased the band's ability to surprise and innovate while staying true to the sludge roots.